So, if you're a feminine on the twin flame journey, you've been on this path, chances are you felt confused. There are times where you felt lost. There are times where you were questioning everything on this path and you felt overwhelmed. I know because I've been there. And there's some things I want to talk about in this video to be able to help you be able to clear away some of these limiting beliefs, some of these myths that are in the collective. Because when we look at the collective as a whole, the twin flame collective, there's a lot of noise going on in there. There has been ever since like COVID, a lot of noise, a lot of people in the collective that aren't even twin flames. So that means that there's a lot of teachings out there that are misguided information. There are so many opinions when it comes to this path. And those opinions are actually coming from those that aren't even on this path. And yet they're having a say in something that doesn't even resonate with them or not even part of their journey. And we have false teachers who claim to be twin flames, teaching twin flame stuff when they don't even really truly understand this path themselves. And then we have others who are teaching from theory versus lived, embodied experiences. And that's what I want to talk about today because I want to shine some light on these myths because a lot of these myths I fell for. 100% be honest with you, I fell for them and they kept me stuck. And I see a lot of feminines out there stuck. And so if the feminines are stuck, that means that twin flames cannot come together in union. And my goal is to help as many feminines get unstuck, to learn from my mistakes so you can come into inner union and eventually 3D union faster than I ever did. And so I want that for you and anyone that will ever walk this path. And by understanding these myths, you can then clear them away and come back to your own truth. And if you're new here, I'm honored that you are here. I'm happy that you are here because I created sacredness within you a few years ago to really help support the feminines on the twin flame journey. And along the way, it got a little diluted because I was afraid to go all in on supporting feminines on this path. And almost 2 years ago, I decided like I need to start sharing my voice. And this is something that I knew a few years into my journey. And so I decided when I went all in, I wanted this space to be a place where feminines could be seen, could be heard and understood. I could provide them with resources and tools to help them navigate their twin flame journey and to rediscover that sacredness that's within you and to help that rise within you so you could be the feminine that you desire to be in this lifetime. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been really thinking about my why because I've had a lot of naysayers, a lot of haters coming in on my comments, things happening in my personal life where people are really trying to do whatever they can to keep me playing small. Because for me, it's one of my biggest lessons is to not let the opinion of others stop me from living the life that I desire and from teaching and doing what sets me on fire. And so it's been a while since I shared my why, and I want to talk about it before I get into this video because then you'll understand why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about some of these. So a few years into my twin flame journey, I knew that I was here to support feminines on the twin flame path. It was just part of how I'm going to serve. It's a small part of how I serve, just like my twin flame journey is a small part of who I am and my human experience. And I knew this for a really long time because I had like very intuitive knowings about this path. And yet I didn't always listen to them. I would listen to others outside of me. And when I discovered that I was a human design projector, and for those of you that are not aware of what projectors are in human design, like literally I'm here as a guide. And the way that I am designed is my soul loves to take the longest way to wherever it is I'm going because I love to experiment with life. everything is like an experiment for me because I get to experience so much stuff along the way. And it's through this I learn what works and doesn't work. And so I share my wisdom, what it is that I've learned. And then you get to take with what resonates with you because it's a reminder of your truth. And if you are not taking what resonates from my videos and applying it to your life, you are actually doing yourself a disservice. And I have been there as well. But I know what it feels like to be on this path and question everything, to question everything and wondering if I'm imagining it, wondering if I made it all up in my mind. And yet, something that feels so real to us is not even reflected in our external reality. Unlike most of you, I've actually had from the very moment that I've discovered I was a twin flame, I've had other feminines on this path close to me, supporting one another, guiding one another, talking about things and clearing away certain things within ourselves and within the collective. And because some of my closest friends, since even before my awakening, are on this path as well, I've always had someone by my side that understood me, that saw me, that knew that there was more to this journey than we could discover on our own individually, which is also why I created my community for feminines who are on the twin flame path called Rise. Because this is a place where you can be seen, you can be understood, and you never have to be alone. And I also know what it feels like to be misled, to come upon teachings and following others that pulled me away from my intuition, that pulled me away from this deep knowing within me, and to constantly like look outside of myself for things that were always meant to be found within me. And when I was in that space, I felt like I was not making any progress. And I was so grateful when God and the universe brought in my twin flame mentors, Jill and Raimi. They were the ones who helped guide me back to myself, to rediscover that truth that I had within me before I got lost. Like in many of my older videos, you'll say I was out in left field, like literally I was out in left field, not knowing how to get to home base. For those of you that don't know, I love baseball. It's one of my favorite sports. And so I use baseball analogies a lot. But they showed me not only that, they showed me parts of myself that I couldn't see on my own. I couldn't. And they supported me in healing parts of me that I wasn't able to or I wasn't willing to. And I want you to know that that's okay. Because in the collective, that's another thing is people are shaming and judging one another for needing support and help because you can't see these things on your own. Because I know what it's like. It's hard sometimes. And all of this changed me. All of this helped me understood what not to believe and what to believe. And that's why I believe when people come across my page, I'm here to help you remember your truth. I'm here to help you get back on track. I'm here to support you and giving you tools so you can follow your unique twin flame blueprint. And I don't say this from ego. I say this from the deep soul purpose that's within me, which is why I had to go through those things so you that's watching this video don't have to. And that's why I share. That's why I teach. I don't tell you what you have to do on your journey, but just to offer a perspective, to share with you what it is that I've learned. And if it resonates with you, then take that experience, take that wisdom, and take it as your own and claim it as your own. Because for many of you, you don't have to follow the same path. And that's my why. So, with that being said, I want to get into today's video because I talked a little bit about this on my TikTok page, and people were like, there were so many comments. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on this and then share it with in my YouTube community as well. And as I mentioned already, there's a lot of distortion within the collective, right? There's people teaching about this path who haven't lived it, teaching about things that they haven't yet experienced. There are people forcing the label twin flame, claiming that they're twin flames or they're not even twin flames. There's collective confusion that is creating disempowerment within both the feminine and the masculine. And there are guides that are teaching about this path, trying to teach us who are on this path, and they're not on this path, about how to navigate this path. So it's creating this huge collective confusion. And we have to remember that just like our human experience within the collective as a whole, as human beings, we also have an individual human experience. And it's the same thing with our twin flame experience. Like there's an experience that's happening within the collective. A lot of time, what is actually happening in the collective, there's multiple things happening at the same time. And why I say that is because those that are awakening on this journey are experiencing different things than someone such as myself who has been on this journey for almost 9 years. And so it's virtually impossible for us to be going through the same thing. Yes, there's some similarities that could be happening, right? But the deep underlying thing may be very, very different. And so it's important to understand that within the collective, there's waves. And I think I did a video on this a while ago. Certain dates in which you are activated to your twin flame path. It's important to remember when you are activated, not when you met your twin flame, because I met my twin flame in December of 2016 and I wasn't activated until like March of 2018, March or April. I can't even remember. It's been such a long time, but it was like a year and a half. And so it's important to remember that, because that's important, because usually the waves are going through very similar things, because I have two friends that are in the same wave as me. And we're always going through our own experiences that are the exact same thing that's coming to surface for us. And so what's happening in my wave is going to be very different than the fourth wave. And the fourth wave are people that are just coming into this journey the last couple of years. And I want you to remember that no two paths on this twin flame journey look alike. No one looks exactly the same, because each of you have your own unique twin flame blueprint. You have your own unique experiences that you're going to have, and things that your twin flame and the both of you together have to navigate through. Because when it comes to this journey, the big part that a lot of us we miss the memo on, is that this journey teaches you to use discernment. And I know when you're confused and you're lost and you're overwhelmed, you're just grasping at everything that you can. And if you're in that part of your journey, I want you to come back to yourself and pause and connect with yourself and ask yourself, as you're listening to even this video, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, connect to your body, and figure out if what I'm saying is your truth, or is it activating fear within you? Start to learn the difference between those two things, so you can trust in what it is that your body and your intuition is communicating to you. So let's dive into myth number 1, which happens to be one of my favorites. Myth number 1 is you should never think about your twin flame. Never. How many of you have heard you should never think about them? Because in the collective, there's a belief that thinking about them means that you're unhealed, or thinking about them means that you're not detached. But here's the truth. The truth is, it's impossible not to think about someone that you share this deep energetic bond with. I mean, they are you in another body. How could you not think about somebody that you have a connection with in this way? And I want you to know that thinking about them isn't wrong. It's not the issue. It's not the quote unquote problem. What's a problem is your attachment to your thoughts. Where do these thoughts lead you? And to be aware of what it's bringing up inside of you. Because your thoughts are information, they are clues, they're teaching you about subtle ways that you're abandoning yourself, where you're out of alignment, where you're operating from limiting beliefs or your conditioning, right? And so start to ask yourself and start to look at, are your thoughts obsessive or are they neutral? Are these thoughts triggering you or are they peaceful? Or are they spiraling you down a rabbit hole and you keep looping in the same thoughts and next thing you know you're triggered by your own thoughts? Or are you observing? Because this is the biggest difference. Because it's not about controlling your thoughts. It's about understanding your relationship to them. And for those of you that meditate, I know some of you meditate and you say it's challenging because you can't stop your thoughts. And that's not what meditation is about. I have a very specific meditation practice that I use, and I've been doing this for shortly after I awakened. So, like 2019, I think. So, like 7 years, I've been meditating this way. And I meditate 20 minutes 3 times a day. A lot of times I'm meditating a half hour 3 times a day or 40 minutes because it helps me come back to me. It helps me soften my body and my energetic field. But what I learned when I was meditating through my practice is it's not about stopping your thoughts. It's about allowing your thoughts to go across your movie screen without attaching anything to it. You see them because sometimes those thoughts are coming up because they want to be released. They no longer want to be your thoughts. They no longer want to be within you. But what happens is a lot of us see a thought and we attach to it. We attach a story, we attach, something to it. And next thing you know, it's leading us down a path that we didn't want to go to. But instead, just watching your thoughts like a movie and asking yourself, what is this here to teach me? Because in meditation, you're not meditating to shut down your thoughts. Over time, you start creating gaps between your thoughts, which then allows you to open your consciousness even more and to actually receive intuitive messages and knowings from your higher self, from the divine. And so think about your twin flame journey and your thoughts the same way. What stories you have behind your thought? Oh man. So I want to give you an example. And when I was writing this, I always try to include personal examples and I couldn't think of anything. And I was like, I know when I'm creating this, I'll be able to think of something. So I want to share with you an example that I had when I would be spiraling. So when I found out that my twin flame was with his very first karmic partner, after we had broken up, I would spiral in thoughts of like wondering what he was doing with her, like knowing like, oh, he's probably taking her here or there to all the places that we went to, right? And literally, I would be going down the rabbit hole of that. And I end up triggering myself, causing myself unnecessary pain and suffering. And I had to understand, why was I doing that? And that's an important piece, to understand why you do those things, why you have the obsessive thinking. Because on the flip side of things, when you are not obsessively thinking about them, you got to the root cause of understanding why you obsessively think. You then start thinking from and feeling about them from a grounded place of awareness. And what I mean by that is sometimes like my twin flame will come across my mind and I'll just wonder what he is. I wonder what he's doing. And whatever it is that he's doing, I hope he's doing well. Right. And I'm wishing him well, not like spiraling down the path like I used to. And so, in order to get to that place, you have to be able to do the inner work and get into understanding how you operate. Myth number 2 is, if you desire union or want union, you're unhealed. And I use wanting because a lot of people want union, right? And we haven't really moved into a desire yet. And the truth, the myth that this is about is, wanting union is coming from lack. Desire, you means that you're attached to this dynamic, attached to their twin flame. And the myth basically is saying you shouldn't ever want them. I remember watching so many videos over the years about people saying, you know, you're healed when you no longer want your twin flame. And they always will say that's where you need to get at in this journey. That's the point. And then when you do, that's when union's going to start coming in. But here's the truth I want you to know. First, it's important to understand the difference between needing, wanting, and desiring. Needing something comes from a place of fear, place out of lack, place out of emptiness. Like I think about when I was with my twin when we were dating, I needed him. He was my everything. He was my emotional support. He was my provider. He like, if when he was in my life was great, you know, but I needed him. And then I got to a place of wanting him where it was like, I wanted him in my life, but I didn't need him in that way. I didn't need for him to provide for me. I didn't need him to provide my emotional support, my mental stability, none of that, right? And then it led to a desire. And desires are your soul led expansion. These are things that God reminds you. A desire usually to feel like comes from your heart, like this knowing that this is what you're here to experience. And that desire is helping you rediscover that part of you, that part of you that wants to experience an incredible love that you've never seen before. There's that part of you that desires to be successful, whatever it might be, right? Because that's your truth. That's your soul reminding you of what is meant for you in this lifetime. And ladies, if your desire is shut down, it's because your sacral chakra is out of alignment, because that's where your desires, that's where you get to hold and receive your desires. And that's where you get to experience pleasure through your desires and to live a really full life. Because here's the bottom line. Your desire for union, it's not the problem. It's the needing and the wanting that is the problem, because that's where you're seeing it outside of yourself. That's where you're seeing it as I need this because it fulfills me or serves a purpose in an unhealthy way. Because desire can be sacred. It's so sacred. It's soul aligned and it's part of your blueprint of what you're meant to experience here on planet Earth in this lifetime. And so many people will try to squish your desire because they stopped desiring. They stopped living from their heart. They stopped honoring that part of them. And if you're in this place of needing your twin, I want you to know that that's okay. There's no shame because you're learning in that place. You're learning that the part of you that is needing your twin flame is saying, I can't be okay without them. I can't be okay without this connection. Where the desire is, I'm whole and I'm open to this experience. So myth number 3 has been a hot topic here on YouTube and on my TikTok page for a while. And that is you have to completely detach. And this myth is literally teaching you to cut yourself off emotionally, to shut down your feelings, to shut down your desires, and to actually stop caring. And for most of us that are on this path, when we detach, what we're actually doing is we're preventing ourselves from getting hurt. It's a form of protection. It's a part of us that is avoiding because we want to avoid being rejected. We want to avoid being abandoned or hurt in any way. And if some of you were to actually look back at your patterning within you, in a lot of places in your life, you've detached to prevent yourself from getting hurt. And this can also be literally where the feminine and masculine roles reverse. And what I mean by that is the feminine starts to become more of the avoidant. And then the masculine then can become a little bit of the chaser. For some of you, it might mean that you actually cut everything off from the connection and your twin flame can't even feel you or sense you in any way. And most likely you can't feel them or sense them either, which then means you are dimming your light and you haven't actually become magnetic to what it is that you truly desire. And if you're wanting more on detachment versus sacred detachment, then I encourage you to check out my video on sacred detachment, because when you detach, you're actually closing your heart. You're avoiding things, you're emotionally suppressing yourself, and you're numbing. So nothing in life excites you. And when we look at sacred detachment, this is where your heart is fully open. You're not attached to the outcome, but you trust in the knowing that what you desire will manifest in your reality. And this calls you to have this deep sense of self trust, trust in yourself, trust in God and the universe, and trusting in your twin. And when you are sacredly detached, you are literally in love with life itself. Because if your detachment requires you to shut your heart down, that's not alignment, it's actually protection. And when we detach in this way, this is where others will teach you this is where you need to be, because then you no longer desire your twin flame. And that's exactly what happens. In this place, you no longer desire them. You no longer truly want them. And you start wondering, like, why do I feel this way? It's because you're detached. And feminines on this path, this is not where you want to be. For some of you, this might be part of your path. And others of you, it may not be your path either. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in one of the other myths. So, myth number 4 is that everyone has to experience a twin flame journey the same way. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions on this path. It is basically saying there's only one way to union, which there are multiple ways to get to union. Just like I live in Minneapolis. Say I wanted to go to California, I want to go to San Diego. There are multiple ways I can get there. I can get there by train. I can get there by plane. I can get there by car. I can get there by walking. I could get there by bike. I can get there by motorcycle. And so if I'm traveling by land, there are multiple routes in which I can take to get there. And every path is going to be unique. And I'm going to experience something different. And it's important to understand that, because you have to remember that you and your twin have a very unique blueprint. There are things that you are here to experience. Yes, there are common themes in which we navigate through and that we experience as a collective on this twin flame path. But no two journeys are exactly the same. And each connection is designed to teach different lessons and to activate different wounds and to support different aspects of your growth and your evolution. And some of you have overlooked one of the most important tools, one of the gifts that we have here on planet Earth is free will. In my experience, people are not using their free will enough. And what I mean by that is they get consumed, to get caught up in trying to get this journey right, trying to do what others do because that's what someone else did, or to try to do this path so they don't make a mistake or get something wrong or take a wrong action, say the wrong thing, and to follow what somebody else has done. And all of this could sabotage parts of your connection. It could create delays in you coming into union, inner union with yourself, and eventually coming into 3D union. And this kind of mindset often creates unnecessary shame, judgment, and pressure within yourself, but also too within the collective. And I really, really, really want to normalize things of like, it's okay if you have to go that way. Because some of us have had to go that way, because some of us are too caught up in our egos. We're too stubborn to actually trust what our heart and our soul and our intuition is telling us. And so we have to learn things in a different way. And I want to talk about a perfect example of how to use your free will. So for some of you, you're going to move from attachment to detachment and then into sacred detachment because you didn't know any better. You didn't know any different. No one told you there was another way. And I'm going to teach you and tell you that there's another way because that path might be true for some of you because you didn't get the memo that there's another way. And for those of you that are getting the memo right now and you're in the attached phase, guess what? You can bypass the detached phase and just go into sacred detachment. You can. You can do it by watching my video. You can do it by attending my masterclass I'm having on, I think it's June 23rd. I'll drop the details down below. But you can directly move from attachment to sacred detachment by doing the inner work while you're in the attached phase, where you can create the safety, the trust, the self leadership within yourself. And I want you to know by going from the attached to the sacred detachment phase, you're not spiritually bypassing. This is the conscious growth that we're here to experience. This is intentional healing where you're saying, no, I'm not going to go that way because I'm going to look at all of these things so I can move from attachment to sacred detachment. Because the twin flame journey, as I said before, is not a one size fits all. Your path is your own. What you want to experience is up to you. But to trust in what resonates with you, release what doesn't, whether it's my videos or whoever else's videos, and allow yourself the freedom to walk the journey in the way that feels aligned to you. Myth number 5 is that you have more than one twin flame out there. This one drives me crazy. Because when I first discovered I was on the path, like in 2018, the terms catalyst twin flame or false twin flame, they didn't exist. They were never used. And over time, these labels were created and they became popular because around COVID time, twin flame term got really popular. I mean, even non-awakened people know what twin flames are now. And so many people were looking for their twin flames because they wanted to be on this journey because of how amazing the love is, the connection that we have. And what they didn't realize is that it might not be their path in this lifetime. And so through that, people have created a catalyst twin flame and the false twin flame. And even in some teachings out there, they say that you meet your catalyst twin flame first before you actually meet your twin flame. But that doesn't really align to the understanding of what a lot of us have about this connection. We know that this connection is where one soul divided into two souls at some point in time in our journey, in our soul's evolution. And we decided that we were going to incarnate in these, in two separate souls. That was our path. That was our destination. That's our design. And when you look at the word twin, it means two, right? Not a triplet, which is 3, or a quadruplet, which is 4. A twin, meaning two. Two. So you and your twin flame. So there isn't a catalyst twin flame. There isn't a false twin flame. Those things happen when you are looking for your twin flame. Your twin flame, you're not here to look for your twin flame journey. Your twin flame journey, if you're meant to experience it in this lifetime, will find you. It will literally slap you upside the head and will flip your world upside down. I didn't look for mine. None of my friends, no one that I know of was looking for their twin flame when they found it. Those that are out there looking for it are the ones that are like, oh, this is my catalyst twin flame or my false twin flame, hoping that it would lead them to their twin flame. And for many of you, your twin flame was your catalyst to your awakening. That's part of your soul's blueprint. That is part of your soul's design. For others, it wasn't. Like, I have a really good friend and I have a couple other clients who were already awakened before they met their twin flame. But their twin flame was what activated more things within them because they are literally our mirror. And I want to remind all of you that connections like karmic connections, soul contracts, soulmates, and other significant like connections can trigger you profoundly, just like a twin flame connection. They can trigger healing, they can trigger growth, they can trigger your awakening, your self discovery. But that doesn't mean it's a twin flame. Because here's the thing, those types of connections and relationships are not the same as a twin flame connection. The contract and the underlying energy of a twin flame connection is very different than those connections. And because of this, there's a lot of confusion within the collective of twin flames, but then as a collective of humanity as well, where people experience these intense connections and assume that the intensity of this connection and even the soul recognition that people have with their karmic is a twin flame. And yet, this intensity can exist in many other relationship dynamics as well. But not every catalyst is a twin flame. And not every powerful connection is meant to fit within the twin flame label as well. And here's the thing, if you're ever questioning whether or not you are on the twin flame journey, I want to give you one thing that will help you really ground in your truth, knowing that you are a twin flame. Those of you that are on the twin flame path, your ego is never going to convince you that that person is your twin flame. Never. Your ego is always going to try to convince you that they're not your twin flame. And do you want to know why? Because your ego is threatened by your twin flame connection. And your relationship with God is the other thing that threatens the ego. So if you ever wanted to know for sure if you're on a twin flame journey, just know that one thing. When your ego is trying to tell you you're not on this journey, it solidifies that you are on this journey. By now, most of you have learned that your twin flame journey is your path of awakening, your path to returning back home to you. So you as a feminine can rise up into the woman that you are meant to be in this lifetime. Because this journey is not about following the rules and doing what others have done before you. And if you are doing that, I want you to pump the brakes for a moment and ask yourself, is following whatever it is that you're following, whoever it is that you're following, right for you? And if so, great, keep continuing it. If not, let that go and align to what it is that you are here to experience. Just because I experienced something doesn't mean that you have to experience it as well. Don't make your journey harder for yourself than you need to. It is already hard enough. Also, too, this journey is not about suppressing yourself or suppressing your emotions or suppressing your desires. You're here to honor all of that. This journey is about self-awareness and embodiment. Because it's important to remember that your thoughts, your desires, and your emotions, none of these are your enemy. All of these are information. Information to help you understand how you operate so you can unlearn that way of operating and come into alignment with how you are meant to navigate life. And a lot of times your emotions, your thoughts, and your desires are oftentimes guidance for you of where you're out of alignment or where you're in alignment. Because this journey is about how deeply you can stay connected to yourself. Even when you're in the presence of love, longing, and uncertainty. And to no longer abandon yourself in the name of love. So if you have believed any of these, or all of them, I want you to know that's okay. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, I believed some of these. And it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or that you're doing this journey wrong. It just means that you have been taught some things that are pulling you away from your truth. So if you if you have been pulled away from your truth, I want you to know it's okay because I've been there. Like I said in my why, this is why I teach what I teach, so you can come back to your truth, so you can honor what it is that you're meant to experience. And I want you to comment down below which one is really active within you right now. Which one are you believing? And if you're needing help in getting um, into the sacred detachment, then I encourage you to watch my video or check out in my description box my live masterclass coming up at the end of the month. And if you're wanting more support and guidance as well, and to be connected with other amazing feminines, then make sure you join Rise. There's tons of tools and resources in there, and we come together monthly for a live masterclass to help support you on this journey. And as always, it's such a pleasure to be on this path with you, and I'm honored that you stopped by to watch my video and to join my community. So please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, like and share and subscribe. And I can't wait to connect with you in the next video. Until next time.